into week 2. This is Storming the Field, where we face the odds and the weather conditions impacting your favorite team. I'm Ian Oliver.
Yeah, and I'm Steve Bennett. We got a supercharged week. We are loaded up. First off, though, front and center would go through every NFL game this week and talk about the Roe impacts, that risk of weather. Will there be any threats this week? We got a couple.
Yeah, and we're going to bring out the big guns with Outkick's Mike Gunz Gunzelman. If you watch Fox Weather, you know Gunz. He'll be here, probably in a Jets jersey, hollering about all of his picks from last week, which were really good. I have to give him some love. We got your best bets. All of that coming up right here on Storming the Field.
Look, as bad as his jersey is as good as...
It was a Darnold Jets jersey, too.
Which, I don't know if that was foreshadowing, because Darnold week 1.
He did.
Look, MVP type of caliber. So we'll get into all of those storylines. But first, before we jump into week 2, let's address week 1. Ian, this was a game you and I highlighted. We talked about Buffalo Bills, Arizona Cardinals. This is, I think, going to be the biggest type of weather impact that we see, especially early in the season, the wind playing a factor.
Steve, it's nice when you're watching a forecast verify and you have buffalo chicken dip. Which we did.
Yes, we did.
Which we did last Sunday.
So shout out to Cass. Great buffalo dip.
A job well done. Crockpot season has begun. But yeah, this was clearly something that we were watching for. The impacts, not just with the wind screaming in off of Lake Erie, but also with the new kickoff rule. And we saw every possible outcome with that, including starts at the 40-yard line. We saw one go back to the house. And then we saw a lot of just the still boring kicks into the end zone.
Those are the toughest ones now, the touchbacks.
Yeah.
Because before you had people sprinting, it was kind of a competition who could get to the goal line. Now it's just like everybody looks at each other. All right, and we're done. But to your point, wind played a big factor. Orchard Park, we know, is exposed on that side. So the wind's coming off of Lake Erie, 15, 20 miles an hour, gusts up to 30. We put it at a low Roe impact because we know at sometimes if it gusts north of 30, that's when it plays a big factor. To your point, though, coming out of half, Prater couldn't kick into the landing zone. So then the Bills get the ball on the 40. Then Allen comes out, connects with Mac Hollins. They score a touchdown, tie it up. That's all because of that good field position. That's where Roe matters, right?
And that kind of got them rolling a little bit.
Gave them that momentum.
Yeah.
And the Cardinals didn't have a chance until DJ came and he took the rock all the way back, right?
Yeah.
So he took it 96 yards. That's a historic moment. We think about the dynamic kickoff rule, right? It's just implemented this year. He has the first one ever taking it back to the house. And again, it's because of the wind. They couldn't get it through the back of the end zone.
What was cool about that, too, and you got to shout out Melvin Gordon from last week.
Yeah.
He had said it kind of sets up as a running play and that they would put more running backs back there. And then as we watch that, it is because of the now, I guess it's weird to us now, the starting position of the two lines. You are basically, there's pacing. You got to wait for the blocks, and he did. He shot the gap. He went right through.
Well, the thing is, when you watch that play back, DJ got hit at the 40 by 2 people. But to your point, running backs, they know how to take a hit. And so he just kept churning it, took it all the way back. Something interesting to watch for the rest of the season. Do people start to change? Because you're going to have 2 guys back, right? Maybe you have a traditional returner. Maybe you have a running back. And that's something that Melvin Gordon kind of alluded to. So even week 1, showing that Roe makes an impact, and it can be something just like the wind that changes it all.
A verified forecast for Melvin. That's going to be the start of a new segment. Yeah, we record these later in the week, but we're going to call it Monday Morning Meteorologist.
Yeah.
As we fact check ourselves and all the garbage we're spewing on here, Steve. Hopefully it's helping you out more often than not.
Well, I mean, hey, one of those aspects where we go to the Monday Morning Meteorologist is Gunz. We talked about he's going to be joining us. We're going to go back through his bets, how he ended up doing. That definitely helped you if you were listening to him. Tell you what, I wasn't, and I'm kind of regretting it.
I hope he went to a wedding at Yankee Stadium last weekend, and it appeared as though he had a lot of fun. So hopefully he's recovered from that in a mindset sense, and he can keep his hot streak going. We do have to take care of some business, though, here, Steve. We're going to take you through all the games in a rapid-fire way and just let you know if there's any caution flag.
Any caution. I think there's a few. There might be a few penalties on the field for a couple teams, but we'll go through the early lineup first. We got Indianapolis at Green Bay, low-end impact, 85 degrees. I think the biggest concern is not the weather. it is Malik coming in for Jordan Love potentially. That game's going to get kind of spicy because you don't know what you're going to get out of the Packers now.
Yeah, we're going to talk more about that coming up in my Ollie's Over Under. My buddy, I think he's more of a salty Titans fan, though, so that plays into his opinion about how that game's going to play out. But yeah, low category. There is the outside chance across the upper Midwest that we do see some isolated showers or storms. Nothing that's going to postpone this game or lead to a stoppage or anything like that. Then we'll talk about Jets and Tennessee. That, Rowie, we'll dig into a little bit with Gunz too, because it starts off in the low category, but there are increasing shower chances as that game moves.
Yeah, so we're going to be diving into what does rain do to the game. I mean, that's what Rowie's all about. How does it impact it? How does it impact specific players, right? This is more than, hey, it's going to rain at the game. Now, how does the game evolve, especially when it's a second half threat potentially? Right. We'll get into that as well. We got the Seahawks taking on New England. I sense a little bias here. But, I mean, New England, tell you what, dude, they looked good week one.
I was disrespected on this program last week.
You were.
I took some heat.
You were.
And
but you
my Pat showed me some love.
Yeah. I mean, that game, you can't get any better. We're upper 70s, plenty of sunshine. New York Giants at Washington, the Commanders. This one, I know we got a low-end Rowie. This is one kind of what you alluded to with the Midwest. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe a light shower or two gets around the stadium, but I don't think this is going to play a big impact. Why we kept the Rowie low. It should be just fine. Besides the playing, I think the playing ain't going to be anything but fine.
Yeah, vibes have been rough in the Big Apple with the Gigantes fans so far this week. But yeah, we'll be watching something a little bit tropical, potentially off the southeast coastline. Mm-hmm. That mess does appear to stay just there, away from at least. It's the immediate coast that'll see the impacts over the weekend. Into next week, that will be a story that you're hearing about on Fox Weather.
And it could play an impact for the next game. We're talking about Chargers and Carolina. They're going to be a hot topic throughout our show. Maybe not because of the weather. They could see some rain evolve, but again, low-end Rowie impact. We're really going to be talking about the players there, looking at some rain kind of coming in the second half of the game. Remember what you were talking about. Coastal areas really feel the brunt of it through the weekend, but by Sunday afternoon, that's when it starts moving inland. Right. Charlotte could be a spot that gets some rain.
Yeah, so that will be... I guess we've got Gordon way out in the Atlantic Basin. That's our next named storm. Yeah. We're watching for the possibility of Helene, well offshore during the first part of next week. But yes, this is a tropical season that is starting to show some of those signs of life. We were tracking Francine all week on Fox Weather. So just if you are a sports and weather enthusiast, we got you covered on that.
I feel like, by the way, with that, I think a lot of teams started off like our hurricane season. We had a fast start, then some people hit a lull, right? And they're hoping it comes back to life, like we were seeing. We'll get into both of those. Another game, Cleveland Browns, Jacksonville.
Yes,
you and I are so familiar with Florida. This is beyond just rain. I think we get into that component with this with the Rowie. Rowie does factor in lightning. That is the greatest threat when you're talking about postponement or delays to a game. Lightning is really the only thing the NFL stops for.
I think that would be the first delay since the very first game of the season, right? The Thursday night game in KC, where you had that big bolt that was above Arrowhead Stadium. Yeah, we'll watch for that because there is an enhanced coverage of showers and thunderstorms, due in part to some of that tropical moisture that's hanging around.
Yeah, and then we get into the late kickoffs, right? So we went through the early lineup on Sunday. We got Raiders, Baltimore. They look like they're sitting pretty. They're into the mid-80s there, rifling through Pitt and Denver. They're into the mid-80s. Honestly, for most of the country, when you're talking about September football, this is the type of weather you're hoping for. Mild conditions and pleasant weather for everybody.
Yeah, a little bit warmer at the aforementioned Arrowhead Stadium. The Bengals are taking on the Chiefs this week, 87 degrees at Kick. That's late afternoon. That's a 4:25 game. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. That'll be an interesting. Joey Burr warming up in the upper 80s after again my Patriots punched them in the mouth. So they got to bounce back this week. You don't want to start 0-2.
Yeah, this was looking tough. A lot of people thought they were going to start 1-1 in the season, but the other way around. Let's see if they can take down the champs. One game I think is sneaky interesting, even for us. The Bears versus Houston. This is Houston's first home game. NRG Stadium was impacted by Beryl. Their retractable roof was damaged. They haven't fixed it.
Right.
Ian, I don't know what the crew's doing. They've been sitting around. This got damaged. over a month ago, like a month and a half ago.
I don't know what the story is with this because I honestly, full disclosure, as we're getting ready for the podcast, I'm saying that's kind of a reach. They're playing at the Dome down in Houston, and it's like no, the literal panels haven't been repaired from Beryl, which was a bizarro storm, a Cat 5 way out in the Atlantic. It made landfall as a 1 and did some damage to the stadium. But yeah, I mean, this is the NFL. This is a $10 billion plus league.
What are we waiting for?
Let's get the roof fixed.
Yeah. By the way, 95 degrees there in Houston. That means heat index north of 100. Can't close the roof. Can't keep the heat out. That could maybe be the factor there.
They'll have that AC pumping in there. They'll be pumping a good chunk of the greater Houston area.
Glad I
some of that cold
paying
air.
for that bill, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, all right. So we're gonna get into Roe Plus now, right? We just went through Roe. We went through the whole lineup. Hopefully, you feel a little bit better about your team, what's ahead. But there were some games that we pinpointed. We said it could get impacted by the weather. Now let's dive into those that are playing in the game.
Right.
How do they change their method, or do they not? Do they say, "Hey, this ain't that big of a deal. We're gonna push forward"? I think we start off with Jets and Tennessee. That seems to be the game where we're starting to look at some showers build into the second half. Here's my big concern right off the bat with that. Aaron Rodgers, right? He's coming off that Achilles injury. And everything leading up to this, Ian, all he said in week 1 was, I just want to get hit. He wants to feel it, right?
Yep.
He wants to feel the game again. Do you fully trust your plant foot if the field is wet? That's my big concern with A-Rod when he's coming into this.
I think if he was at MetLife after what happened there and the kind of the reputation that turf has around the league, probably not. But down there in the Music City, I liked what I saw last week. I know it wasn't a good result for them, but I actually thought he looked sharp.
Okay.
Even though, again, the Jets ended up taking the L. His demeanor was good, too. You can tell that, I don't know, you talked about some of the reasons why his mindset may have shifted, but it seemed like he was really enjoying playing football again.
No, yeah, he just loved being there. Actually, I was listening to an interview with him. Once he heard the national anthem, it finally settled in.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, okay, I'm back. He got emotional. He almost started crying, and he's like, "All right, this is what I want to feel. Like, I want to feel the emotions. I want to get into it." So I think for him, he's such a versatile player that I don't think it matters with the rain. I just wonder if the confidence with his foot, that would be a couple plays. Once he sees it, he'll be fine.
I think he's all set.
My thing is with the Titans, especially what happened with Will Levis at the end of the last game.
Not great.
I don't think you let him even throw it. I think you just hand the ball to Pollard, and if it's raining, that feeds into that too, right? I think this almost kind of favors Titans hoping that it rains, so it kind of equals the playing field.
We're going to talk about this a little bit more with Gunz, but I have Tony Pollard marinating on my fantasy bench right now, which is a great thing. I'm actually deep at running back.
Put him in.
I'm trying to find a way to get him into this game for all the reasons that you said. Levis has played well, but the second half of that game, it was just head scratcher. What are we doing here?
My thing is, I think it's because he's a competitor, right? He wants to prove something, but I think if he comes out trying to do that early in this game, puts himself in a tough spot. If he's been marinating for you there, I think it's time to put him in the oven. I think he's ready to cook. Yep. I think he's ready to get you some good points. Maybe some good bets, too. We'll be talking about that. Let's shift our focus now to two. All right, so two teams that are struggling. One easily could be the worst team we've ever seen in the NFL. But Chargers, I mean, they don't even have that dynamic of an offense. I think this, again, J.K. Dobbins, I love
by
this
could be,
start.
you mean is
Yeah.
for the home team. Here.
Oh, yeah. No, they're the worst.
The worst.
But worst ever.
Ever.
That's what I'm saying.
Ever might be a lot.
I know it might be a lot, but look, when you're selling tickets for under $2 and people still aren't showing up,
Pretty competitive price.
yeah. You want to go catch a game? Maybe we can go catch one here.
Yeah, right.
See what it's all about. What we're talking about is the Panthers. We're going to get into that. That's going to be a dynamic topic. I encourage you to stay around in the pod about what we should do with the Carolina Panthers. But Herbert, right? I just don't think he's got enough firepower beyond Dobbins. I don't think they're even trying to throw. I think he's got a cannon. But again, this is a game where if rain sets up, I think you just give Dobbins the rock and just let him handle it.
So Dobbins, he's always been electric. Health has been the issue with him.
Mm-hmm.
If he stays healthy, he's going to eat this season, and I wish I had him on my fantasy
By
team.
the way, did you hear that in an interview with him and Aaron Rodgers, or Aaron Rodgers talking about J.K. Dobbins? He's the one who got Aaron Rodgers through rehab. He comes in every day motivated, happy. So you want to see somebody like that who's just so full of life and energetic thrive, and that's what we're seeing right now out in Los Angeles. Last game that could be impacted. This one was on the low end, but something that we should talk about with our Rory criteria is when we see thunderstorm set up at any point of the game, if it reaches a medium category or criteria, that means the whole game is labeled as medium. So something towards the end of the game, if this is close, could play a massive factor when you're talking about thunderstorms.
Yeah, the heat and humidity down in Florida. I mean, we had that Raymond James last week. We were talking about that. Boy, did the Bucks
handle business.
Maybe take advantage of that. That was something that Gunz had right, which I think he's up in just a minute now. But yeah, that heat and humidity could give rise to some of those showers and thunderstorms. Cleveland is on tilt right now. We might be on Jameis watch pretty soon.
Yeah. I feel like we're already on. Everybody's already chirping about, I want to see Jameis. The thing is, though, it's tough to be this upset with Deshaun when you look at that offensive line.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
You could grab 5 fans from the stadium and let them stand in front of Deshaun, and they might be doing better.
Famous Jameis. I'd love to see him.
All right, I think we have gotten to the point we've talked about him so much. Starting and sitting, I think it was time we start with Mike Gunzelman.
All right, I think it is time. We got the man himself. You know him from Outkick. You've seen him featured on Fox Weather. We're drafting Mike Gunz Gunzelman. Oh, wait, I should call him by a different title. Mike, put some respect on my name, Gunzelman, because Gunz, what was that last week? You had the script from Roger Goodell. I thought you were 3 for 3 because you joined me in studio on Fox Weather Now, and you were 3 for 3 on those picks, but you were on Steve's show as well. He says you were 10 of 11 total.
Yeah. Oh, I'm rolling right now. I'm 14 out of 16 the last 2 weeks.
He's a sharp.
For Fox Weather.
Okay.
He's dialed in, locked in. Hey, Gunz, I loved going back and forth with you on X. I encourage everybody, if you want to follow Gunz, follow Ian and I. We're on X, of course. We're always talking about everything. But we got to dive into this, Gunz. We were looking at some of these games, of course. Our big thing is Roey, that risk of weather impact. How does that change the game? I want to get some of your insight on the games we were highlighting. Let's start off with the Jets and the Titans, all right? Well, I was telling Ian, I'm a little worried about my boy A-Rod, just because of the Achilles, right? If you got a wet surface, does that play into the confidence? I think both of us walked away from this saying, he's a legendary quarterback for a reason. I don't know if this will slow him down.
It's a tough first game.
Yeah.
They can bounce back from that, but I thought he looked sharp, and I don't think he has some of those mental hurdles with not trusting the body.
See, here's the deal. We can't trust Ian here because he's a Patriots fan.
I said he looked good.
Anything he says positive about us, we need to run in the opposite direction.
Okay. You're the one with the Jets Darnold jersey, Gunz.
Let's go. Hey, Sam Darnold did great, by the way, against the Giants. Now, I wish we still had him. But here's the deal, okay? The game's going to be taking place, obviously, in Nashville. I will be at the game. So I will be in attendance for my Jets taking on the Titans. Now, it's been raining all weekend, severe weather storm, thunderstorms happening all weekend. For Sunday, we'll be all right. The weather will clear out. So we're not expecting rain for the actual game. However, you can be sure that the field's still going to be wet. Now, I agree with you. Last week, Aaron Rodgers looked a bit hesitant with that ankle still. Of course, last year he missed the whole entire Achilles. He missed the whole season because he tore his Achilles. Now, here's the deal with football. If you are a split second off, you're done, especially as a quarterback. When you have 300-pound men running at you whose goal is to destroy you and rip the ball out from you, that is not good. So I need Aaron Rodgers to bounce back here. I think that they're going to have a lot more possession with the ball. Last week, they got smoked by the 49ers. Their defense looked terrible. I actually like the Jets here. They're 3.5-point favorites against the Titans. The Titans also have to play better than they did because they lost a heartbreaking game.
Yeah.
But I think the Jets
they kind of gave that away. I don't know that they lost. They literally gave that game away.
Yeah, handed it over, but I do like the Jets here. I think the experience of an Aaron Rodgers comes through. The weather will not be an issue, though, for this game, but I like the Jets. We're taking them 3.5 here. Go Jets.
Guns, with the slick conditions, we've got starter sit. We've got, for the Jets highlighted, Rodgers, of course, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson. On the other side, Will Levis, Tony Pollard, Calvin Ridley. Are there any of those 6, as many as you want, that you either see value this week or you would look to fade?
I like Breece Hall. I think the Jets are going to utilize him a lot. Now, last week I told you to take him on an anytime touchdown. That hit. Let's go.
Yeah.
Trying to give you some money here
That
for
hit
all
with
the
the
viewers
quickness.
and listeners out
That
there.
was stress-free.
Yeah.
I like Breece Hall with the over in receiving yards.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. I think they drop it off, a little couple screen passes and whatnot, and give him the ball. So go with that one. You could do anytime touchdown if you want that. I think Garrett Wilson gets the ball. Last week, of course, Allen Lazard had not 1 but 2 touchdowns. I think Wilson gets a touchdown as well.
So I watched the game with Steve, and he was like, "Hey, man, Gunn said anybody but Garrett Wilson to score a touchdown." And then we see Lazard, and then we see Lazard score again.
Yeah.
Another
This dude's a
victory.
lunatic.
Giving you that money, baby.
Yo, Gunz, I had already locked in my parlay and it had Wilson. I was so mad. I was like, I should have checked in with Gunz first. I got to ask you, on the other side, right, Titans, do they feed the rock to Pollard a little bit more now because even in the rain or because of just Levis' bonehead error and they don't trust him as much? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think the safe play, especially with the first half, is Pollard for sure. I think that, they would slowly bring in Levis back into kind of give him some confidence or whatnot. But of course, with the slick conditions, Pollard will definitely be getting some more play. I just don't trust the Titans as much as I do with the Jets as far as the game plan goes right now, because the Jets were embarrassed last week.
Yeah.
And I think that this week is a big bounce back week.
That defense.
My best bet, 3.5 points.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're gonna get into that too. Bender's best bet, I got that locked in. The defense is struggling with the Jets, and I worry about Hassan Reddick now. Still hasn't signed. He's looking at trade offers. So, I mean, you got a Pro Bowler that's just sitting on the sidelines there who could really help you. Kind of with that defense. The other game that we want to dive into, I believe, is what's happening here with the Carolina Panthers and the Chargers. If you have anybody in fantasy on the Carolina Panthers, you might as well just quit fantasy football. I feel like at this point, unless, is there anybody that jumps out? Here's what we got, Guns. You got Bryce Young, Deontay Johnson, Chuba Hubbard, and then, of course, you got Justin Herbert, J.K. Dobbins, and Ladd McConkey.
Georgia.
That's on the Chargers.
Yeah. Here's the deal. Don't bet the Panthers whatsoever. We're going to go with the Chargers. You want some facts? How about this? Of course, Chargers, Jim Harbaugh getting his first victory since returning to the NFL last week. The Chargers have not gone 2-0 since 2012.
Wow.
So they are due. I like the Chargers here. Weather will be affected here, by the way. It's definitely going to be raining for it this game. I don't really trust the Panthers whatsoever. My best bet, though, if you want to do this, is Gus Edwards is the Chargers kind of like goal line running back. I think he scores a touchdown here. I think within the 20 or so, within the red zone, I believe that the Chargers are going to be running the ball, and I think anything within, say 7 to 9 yards to 7 yards to the goal line, Gus Edwards is going to score for you.
Look, I'm putting that in right now. I'm just doing it while the game's good.
Guns, baby. I know what I'm
the
talking
Gus
about.
bus. Anytime TD.
Okay, so we're looking at that, and I love J.K. Dobbins, of course, in that game. He was electric last week.
Yeah,
the man
expect
deserves
him to have
it.
another big game, but as far as an ATD, you want some value, anytime touchdown. I like Edwards on that. It's better value for sure. But yeah, the Panthers.
That and Dobbins last week. Dobbins only had 10 touches, or at least he had 10 carries.
10 carries,
and he went for
135
and a tutty. So yeah,
if
I
you
mean
have
that's
any
efficiency.
Panther on your team, fantasy sports, you're in trouble. Just like I was, because I had Tua as one of my quarterbacks in my league, and Tua, of course,
terrible.
got knocked out.
That was
Thursday Night
awful.
Football was not good. We're praying for him.
Yeah.
Another concussion, it looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's going to have some difficult choices to make. The franchise is going to have some choices to make. We're going to have to follow that story as it plays out. And, of course, the stranger than fiction aspect of sports, it's DeMar Hamlin that was on the other end of that hit. He really didn't even hit Tua.
Yeah.
No, it was his arm.
Yeah.
Tua ran into the arm and somehow got a concussion. I just feel awful for Tua. This could be his third possible concussion from it, and it's just when you get to that level, it's just not.
Yeah.
He's got some difficult decisions.
You become more prone. Exactly. Real quick off of this, I was thinking immediately, Tannehill got to go back to the Dolphins. You think that's something there?
You know what? Yeah. So Tannehill is definitely in talks right now with Miami, but also I think Ian's man. Never say never. Maybe
famous
Mr.
Jameis?
Brady.
Maybe
Mr.
Come on, don't do
Tom
this.
Brady comes back.
Hey, turn his mic off. Turn his mic off.
Don't do this.
Although Tom didn't do too bad on our sister station, of course, the Fox Networks. We've got Brady this year. Did okay. I think he's going to also continue to get back. Here's the deal with Tom Brady and broadcasting. We live in such a social media age where people want things immediate. They want immediate satisfaction, guarantee. Want them to go from 0 to 1,000,000 within a second. Give Brady a couple of weeks for the love of God.
Right.
He will be fine, okay? It's Tom
They
Brady.
did this with Romo, too. They did it with Romo when he first started. So, I mean, you need a minute.
The expectations are high. Hey, we want to really jump into the bets right now here. Gunz, let's get your take. Here's Bender's best bets, the lineups that I have. We talked about this game. We got Chargers and Panthers. Chargers 5-point favorite. I locked them in because anybody against the Panthers, easy money, I feel like, all year. But for this game especially, you got 49ers over the Vikings. I chose 49ers. I felt like the Vikings came out hot. They looked great. But for me, I feel like that was a false sense of...
San Fran's a juggernaut.
Dude, they're just so good. They
that
made
feels like
the
a good
Jets
number.
look average and struggling. So I just feel like they're going to dominate. And then the Jets over the Titans, I got them locked by 4 points. Any of those that you disagree with, what are you feeling?
I actually, well done. I will be sipping some champagne.
See?
We'll be eating some nice steak together.
These all seem like layups, which means they'll go like one of three.
Thanks.
I will say this, though.
True.
The Vikings, I also kind of like the under because people are expecting the Vikings to to Sam Darnold to do what he did last week. I don't think he performs as well as he did. I mean, he manhandled that Giants defense.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Christian McCaffrey, you got to count him back in for San Francisco. He didn't play last week.
Yep.
So I think the Niners are an absolute lock. I like them. I like the Chargers as well. And of course, Jets. Let's go Jets.
Yes. Yeah, I think the Jets.
Ian, what you got? What you got over there? Anything you got going?
We got a little something called
the Patriots losing.
Hey, we talk about all your bets verifying. If you remember, I took Pats for the season over 4.5, and I'd say 1-0 is an awfully good start with 16 games still to go. So that's neither here nor there. Let's do a little something called Ollie's over-under. Guns, since you asked. I got Anthony Richardson over 40 yards rushing. Last week, he had 56 against a really good Houston team. I think a lot of people were uncomfortable with how close that game was. Also, I was playing Anthony Richardson in fantasy football, so I was very aware of those 56 rushing yards and the touchdown.
Yeah.
That's one.
I agree with you that Anthony Richardson made a name for himself last week. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, he was chucking that ball all over the way. He was gunning it.
He said, "You know how long I've been waiting for this."
I'm
gonna make a name for myself.
I just also think with Richardson, I mean, the Colts, they're gonna have so much time of possession. I think Green Bay, their offense is gonna struggle now. So yeah, you're just giving more opportunities for Richardson, especially when he lowered his shoulder, got in the end zone. Boom. I like going with the run yards.
And I was giving Stevie layups the smoke over here, but then I got a couple layups for you myself, and they both come from the same game. Herbert's line, which if it's a blowout, maybe that is a trap, but his passing line is only 209.5 yards, which is not a lot. He did only have 144 last week with a touchdown against the Raiders, but that was in part because J.K. Dobbins was going crazy, so he didn't need to throw. But I feel like Harbaugh is going to want to get him on track, and he hasn't had like a really good Herbert game yet. So that's one of them. The other one's on the other side. Bryce Young, 185.5 under. He had 161 last week against the Saints, 2 picks, and a QB rating of 32.8. I don't think Harbaugh's defense will be worse than what he saw last week. Plus the weather.
Plus
that's
the
one
rain.
of those with the rowie.
He's got a weak arm. I think if rain comes in, I don't think you can count on it. Yeah.
So, Gunz, what do you think about those? I mean, there's conventional wisdom there. It's not really hot takes, but I feel like it'll work out.
That Herbert line seems a little fishy.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know. It seems almost too good to be true, my man. I would kind of.
I thought I heard on the broadcast last night that there was only 2 quarterbacks that threw for 300 plus this week.
Yeah.
What is that all about?
You want to know why that is? It's because what we're starting to see is, in baseball, how you start pitchers and catchers earlier.
Yes.
So that way their arms are all set and everybody else kind of catches up.
Yep.
What we're seeing now is the defense is essentially pitchers and catchers right now, where these starting quarterbacks aren't playing at all in preseason. So it's going to take a week, 2, 3 weeks for them to get.
You think it's a function of the abbreviated preseason and just trying to avoid injuries? Yeah.
Yeah, they're not playing. So that's why a lot of those quarterbacks this past week didn't do too well. So those over-unders as far as yardage goes, I'm kind of hesitant about taking them unless it's, of course, like a Josh Allen who's going to get in the touchdown.
I hear you.
Maybe I would go for touchdowns more so than like yardage.
So this is like the early part of the PGA Tour when they go to Hawaii and just like have a good time and knock the dust.
They've all got guts. They all look like John Daly out there. Like
Yep. So I guess that's the point of the season where we're at. But all of a sudden at the end of the season, these are the games that actually can make or break. So sure. Yeah. Before we let you go, Gunz.
Yeah.
What do we got?
We got to get into snap judgment, and we're actually going to stay with that game potentially. It seems how I want to see your take on this. What we want to do is just get your immediate reaction to what we're going to ask you. Should there be relegation in the NFL, especially with the Carolina Panthers? What do you think?
Should there be what?
Relegation. Should they be relegated?
Like in the Premier League.
You know how if you watch football around the world, right? Carolina Panthers, their tickets going under $2 and they can't get it stacked.
Oh, yeah. I don't think, Carolina should not have a football team whatsoever. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Even
Charlotte should move on. All right. Play golf. Don't have a football team there.
He's saying that the Carolina Panthers are the Sheffield United of the NFL. They're the Luton town.
They should become the Oakland A's, okay?
Yeah.
Ship them out.
They need Ryan Reynolds to come in and buy their franchise and bring them back, right? That's basically it. That's the only way. Welcome to Wrexham, shout out. But what we're looking with that is that with these bottom tier teams, should there be some type of penalty for being this bad? I mean, it hurts the entire brand. When you have an empty stadium, and then we're going to be sending this team overseas to Munich with the Giants, another team that many people say they should be relegated as well.
Listen, I agree with you completely, except, of course, the worse you are, you get that number 1 draft pick. So there is,
True.
There is
That's true. It's hard to stay bad, and the Premier League doesn't have number 1 draft picks coming out like that. They just have development. Like Cristiano was playing for Sporting at like 11. So
True.
That's a bit of a feeder program.
But I'll tell you this though, unlike other sports, I mean, football, any given Sunday, I think is really true. I mean, we've already seen some upsets that you're looking at and you're just like, what is happening? And of course, with injuries, that can happen. Dolphins losing their starting quarterback, and God knows who they're going to have now. I think you never really know. So
that's weird, Gunz, because it sounds like you're making the argument I made last week for 4.5 wins over for the Patriots. Because they're an NFL
team. Not going to make it. But should something be done with that? I mean, I love it for when I play a team like the Panthers because I know hopefully I can check off that W.
Yeah, lastly, we've got Steve's got his clipboard. This is a season-long thing that we're marking down notes.
Look, and I'm already falling behind. I was hopeful looking at what you're wearing today, but jersey, no jersey, how you feel about it? Rocking one.
Oh, always jersey. I don't mind the jersey thing. Now, if you have a jersey that has your own name on the back, and believe me, I got the best last name going, Gunz. I mean, let's go on. You can't do that.
No.
You can't do that. I got my, can't wear your own jersey
unless you play for the team. Your name's not going on the back.
No, well, yes, A to that. But I do think that you're allowed to wear the jerseys to the game. Come on now.
So do I get like a half point?
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think there's partial credit here. I think
this is going to be a tough.
Easy 2-0.
Ian, you're a big face paint person, right? You just go like this.
Oh, no, he likes to paint.
Yeah.
He likes to paint his chest too. Like he's one of those guys. Yeah.
Nobody needs to see that.
If there's a crock pot and a cold beverage, I'm ready to have a good time.
Oh yeah, especially buffalo chicken.
Gunz, what are you rocking this weekend for the jersey?
This weekend I'm gonna go with my man Wayne Corbett.
Wayne Corbett. Okay, that's a real one. That's how we know Gunz is a real one.
Oh, come on now. Listen, I've been dealing with the Jets and the New York Islanders and my New York Knicks for a long time.
It's like, bub, Gunz the type of dude that would have like the Braxton Berrios jersey.
Oh,
yeah. I'm such a Jets fan. I've got a Tim Tebow jersey for those 5 games that he played with us.
Hey, we're up against the clock, but if you like the Yankees like this guy does, check out Gunz's Twitter. He went to that wedding at Yankee Stadium. Has your brain fog from that lifted yet? That seemed like it might have been a 2-week thing.
So the Yankees do 1, maybe 2 weddings a year. Your boy Gunz went to one. I just posted not too long ago a full video recap. It was unbelievable. The best food, the best drinks, the best sights, 27 World Championships. You need to see it. It was unbelievable. I just wish I had that much money to throw my own wedding day.
How many of those 27 since like 2010 or so?
Goodbye. See you.
Hey, we're out of time.
On that note, we're done.
Hey, Gunz, always great to see you. You can listen to Storming the Field every Friday during football season, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast.
Plus, get the latest on big game forecasts and weather news by watching Fox Weather on your favorite TV device. Plus, you can always follow us on social, anywhere on social media at Weatherbender.
Yeah, look for Gunz. I'm at Ian Oliver WX. We'll see you next time right here on Storming the Field.